they call it care, custody, and control, but care comes first.
Yeah,
Yes.
for always. They just don't have the experience and the knowledge, and this is what I did every day, the 7 days a week for 25 straight years.
Yeah.
I mean, until my wife finally told me that, you gotta
But I think
know.
what makes you such a good vet is that you're a horseman,
Well-
and you ride horses, and you're on them, you're underneath them, and I couldn't think of a better vet.
That's what makes Randy a great trainer.
Yeah.
He has a feel.
Yeah, he rides them.
Rides them.
Yeah.
I mean, heck,
He knows what speed is, man.
Hey.
I said, I'm at Keeneland looking at your babies, remember? Oh, yeah. Get to Churchill now.
Welcome to Leading the Way. Here we are at Keeneland Sales in the back ring for the biggest sale of the year, maybe worldwide, largest yearling sale of the year. Randy's with us, Hartley DeRenzo, and Dr. Steve Allday with us today.
Thank you.
So, Steve, we're here talking about the whole industry. And so I want you to kind of give us a little background about yourself.
Well, I was born and raised on a horse farm, so I guess that's a good start.
One of the reasons we surely want you here as a horseman. That's number one.
That's a good start. But my parents had quarter horses and thoroughbreds. Oh. And we did Western, but I rode English as well. I rode hunters and jumpers as a kid, as much as I hate to admit it. No, I'm just kidding. No, I really
get a lot of balance out of it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then I got a little too tall for that. Probably not, but I got too tall for my taste. And so I got into Western sports. I rode, and I did all the prep and the broke the babies and stuff like that. And then when I went back, my dad's originally a Texan. He's a native Texan. Went back to Texas, finished high school, started roping when I was junior in high school. And I'd already rode, as I found out, the riding's the hardest part of it. So I'd part down. And the roping I learned, and, I roped in high school, college, up until I was a sophomore, and then I had to get serious about college because I wanted to go to veterinary school. And then, as it turned out, I didn't rope again. I stopped roping when I was 20, and I didn't pick it back up till I was 50.
Well, you were probably broke for the first part of it.
Yeah, no, not probably. I was definitely broke.
Being a veterinarian doesnad just pay a paycheck right off the bat.
No, but I got lucky. I got hooked up with some really, as an undergraduate, my dad had taken horses as a kid in Maryland to Ed Churchill over Chesapeake City, Maryland.
Oh, really? Well, the great part about having you here as a veterinarian and a horseman, and so we're trying to bring across that it takes so many different things to do what you do and to do it as well as you do it because of the welfare of the horse.
I paid him to say that, you guys. Anybody didn't catch on that. Doing good?
Yeah, doing good? Am I doing good?
Flip him a few bills there. Yeah.
But really, that's the truth of it because, to have that passion and while you're taking care of these animals is amazing because you think out of the box.
Well, I don't really think of it that way, but the truth is I learned it from the legend. Churchill was the first board-certified surgeon, equine surgeon in the history of veterinary surgery.
Wow.
He was the first president of the AAEP. He was the first guy to use purified HA in joints. He's the first guy to do, I learned it from him, watching him. He did mostly standard breds, but people don't realize this. There's only been, let's say a little trivia for you guys. There's only been one 5-time horse of the year, and that was 5-time horse of the year. Only one that's ever done it.
Favorite trick?
Kelso. And you know who his vet was? Ed Churchill.
Oh, really?
Now, he's notorious as or infamous, or what? I shouldn't say notorious.
Well, how did you get to learn from Ed Churchill?
Well,
how'd you get yourself in that position?
My dad took horses to him as a kid. I really liked him, and he was different. He did it this way, everybody else did it that way. And I went, he's either crazy or he's better than they are. So I got to looking how they did it, and I looked and saw the results I saw here. I said, he's not crazy. He just knows more than they do.
Yeah.
So I started. hung out with him over time. And then when I did my internship in my senior year of vet school, I went to spend time with him. And as luck would have it, when I got out of vet school, I went to work for Ken Sieber. And who did Ken Sieber work for?
Churchill.
Ed Churchill.
Wow, that's a position that people would wish they could
I got
ever.
so lucky.
Yeah.
So lucky.
That's blessed.
Kenny was the man at Standardbreds. I was Standardbred 3 years. We worked on Horse of the Year all 3 years, and all kinds of champions. The first crops of Niatros. Mac Lobel, who was Horse of the Year and champion trotter, won the Hambletonian, the Hambo they call it.
Right.
You know, Forrest Skipper, the first year I was there was undefeated, or second year was undefeated. He was 15 for 15 on the year and was Horse of the Year. He's a son of he's a Scarlet Skipper, and he was a son of horse call, from a really, really good horse that stood in New York. People wouldn't know Standardbred, so I'm not going to.
No, but they have
some of the best horsemen in the
they're
world.
athletes.
They are. I learned so much.
Some of the best horsemen
But
in the
these
world.
horses are athletes.
Yeah, they are.
And they need the care, daily care from the trainers, the riders, the grooms, the drivers, in their case.
Definitely.
But
they sit behind them every day. That's the good part.
Yeah. They're not on top of them.
Yeah. They get behind them and they can see things and they tell you.
Never thought about that.
I learned a ton about equipment, shoeing. I used to spend, when I was with Sieber at the Meadowlands, I had to spend every afternoon in the blacksmith shop until I had to go give Lasix.
Really?
And no foot, no horse, as we know.
Yeah.
I mean,
I had to know all the shoes. I had to know every type of shoe. I had to know, how the horses would break over. I had to know if horses, if we're hitting for mechanics, you name it. And it really helped a ton. It really made it. Balance was huge because you're out on a road with a little stone dust on top.
Yeah.
And it made a huge difference. And it made a big difference in my career. And then I got known, everybody called me like with the Standardbreds, well, I started with that. We did everything, but when I switched over to Belmont Park and was working on thoroughbreds, they called me, the ass man, the backhand
man.
Yeah,
right. And I remember doing a set of stifles for a Hall of Fame trainer, his son, that was in the same barn as the Hall of Fame dad, and I asked him. He had a horse he claimed. I did his stifles. He won like 5 in a row, including a stake. And he claimed for $35,000. And that back then, that was a big deal at Belmont.
Yeah.
Well, his dad came over and asked me and said, "Can you look at this horse for me?" Yeah, I said, "Yeah, sure." He goes, "You do the same thing to him you did to my son's horse."
That's it.
And I said, "That's not what he needs."
Right.
And he goes, "Well, what does he need?" And the horse had another problem, a torn muscle over his back end. So I can fix that too, though. Worked on the horse for him.
A glute?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, you got a glute.
Yeah. But I learned that from Churchill. Yeah. I learned that way back when from Churchill. Now I get accused of doing every horse, but we could ask Todd Pletcher. I do a lot of horses for him, and I don't do every horse's glute. So.
No, right. Well, that's what we want to bring across, the care.
Yeah.
It's always they call it care, custody, and control, but care comes first.
Yeah,
Yes.
for always.
Yes,
Everything.
Got to be good caretaker.
Yeah.
Got to be.
Without that, you have nothing.
Yeah. And you got to let him do more and say more because.
Well, Dean's a good talker.
But no. Yeah, I know he is. But whenever I have a question, I really need to know what's wrong with the horse. I call Randy.
That's right. Because Randy eats, sleeps, and drinks them.
I know he does.
24/7. First in the barn, last to leave.
When I got one of mine there, I say, "Randy, how's the horse?" He's not gonna. You'll sugarcoat it. Randy told me the truth, Steve. It's like this.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
I say, Steve, don't call me. But that's.
Well, we've had the pleasure to be able to be around you and to get to know you. We've heard so much about you for so many years, and
that's all I pay him to say it. Man.
Yeah.
Well, we were afraid to meet you.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, exactly.
No,
yeah.
I vetted that. What's that? Let's see. What'd you pay for that forestry called?
No, nothing.
What'd you sell him for?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you sold one for $16 million.
Yeah, it was a good day. Good day at the office.
I vetted that horse.
Yeah. I know.
But I think what makes you such a good vet is that you're a horseman, and you ride horses, and you're on them, you're underneath them, and I couldn't think of a better vet.
I appreciate it.
That's what makes Randy a great trainer.
Yeah.
He has a feel.
Yeah, he rides them.
Rides them.
Yeah.
He
knows what speed is, man.
Yeah.
When you run them cans, man, you got to like.
Steve, we don't even have a stopwatch, and we don't need.
Oh,
one.
you don't need one. No.
Dean, it drives Dean insane. I like make up time sometime. He's like, "How the horses prep?" Oh, they went at 11. Yeah. I know we're going to go faster than that.
Just tell them that. That's what they want to hear anyway. But that's not what you do. You guys You guys never clock them. You never work them fast before they get to the sale.
No.
Not that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They could either run or they can't.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, some have more ability than others, as we know, but so we want to get 110% out of whatever they have.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whatever level that may
Reach
be.
their potential.
Yeah.
And you know what?
That particular day, you know, it's like you trying to hit the Derby. You got that one day, you got one shot, and you got to get the horses.
Being the right horse, right day, right time. You got line up a lot of variables.
You
guys have sold a couple of Derby winners.
Yeah,
we've been very blessed. Yep.
Yeah, I remember the first one was a buckaroo colt.
Yeah, silver buck.
Yeah, silver buck. Silver buck. Yeah, silver. Because buckaroo was spend a buck, but silver buck. Yeah.
I tell people all the time we put Bob on the map.
Oh man,
he tells people that too.
Yeah, we got him started, and that was his first Derby. That was awesome.
Sure was.
Yeah.
You know, the bad part was the year before he got beat a nose in the Derby.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he called me up and to work on that horse. I worked on him, and he looked at me and goes, "Why weren't you around last year when I needed you?"
Yeah, exactly.
I said, "Because Bob, I didn't know you did."
Cavanier.
Cavanier.
Yeah,
Cavanier.
Cavanier. Gelding, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was a gelding.
Yeah, he was.
But
just got beat a nose in the Derby.
When you look at horses, and you look at lots of them, Derby horses, champions, every level, really. Just horses, and you treat everyone as if they're champions because
that's what you're supposed to.
You know, you're not looking at the horse; you're looking at what you have to take care of.
Yep.
On that, how aggressive would you like to be in every bond? You like to really get in it and stay in it with the horse till the very end?
That's a good question. That's a great question, actually. You know, I'll tell you the truth. I like to see every horse reach its potential.
Right.
And I like working with outfits when they see them, I get a good feeling about an outfit and people I work with when they see what I see. Because if we're on the same page to start with, I think we can go down the path together at a lot more productive rate and a lot more productive, situation for the horse, because it's about the horse.
It's all about the horse.
The horses never say no. I always felt, and I will not claim originality for this because it's not true. It wouldn't be true. Okay, and I don't lie. It ain't my gig.
Right.
But I tell people, look, these animals never say no, and you always have to. If there's a chance or if there's a reason why I got to be their voice, and I got to say no for them,
right?
Because they won't.
Right.
Okay. And the ones that really get it go, well, that's what I want you to do. Because, this is what you do. Because, I'm going to stay in my lane kind of guy, I'm a vet. That's what I do. Okay. I don't train them. Not my gig. I'm not saying I couldn't. I'm not saying that I wouldn't, but I don't. Bottom line is I do what I have to do to give you the best read for where we are right now. And I don't like taking chances. I don't like pushing the envelope. One's got something wrong. I said, look, pull the plug. Don't go there. This is why. And I remember,
just some time. Yeah. Maybe just time. Yeah. Time heals a lot in itself.
Yeah. And, if it needs it. But I'm always a firm advocate that you need to diagnose what the problem is, know why you're stopping, and then give it a course that's going to give you the best end result to get this horse back to where he's supposed to be and get him back on track, down the path he's supposed to go down. And I have had to fire, and I've been fired by outfits from that basically they want to go. I remember one year, and, I won't tell you the name of the horse, but the horse had won a prep for the Derby. A lot of politics involved. I'm not good in politics. And they took the horse here, had me do a physical, but when they shipped him in, he looked great. They worked him on this track, and he came up with a hind end problem. And they had me look him over and said, man, this has come up, this sort of thing. And I said, look, you had a glute.
Yeah.
All right. I said, look, he needs his back end done. I said, the right front, you're getting an ankle, this sort of thing. They had their thing. I was, everybody, they had their powwow.
Yeah.
I was out. Okay. That's their choice.
Yeah.
He took him to Churchill the Saturday before the Derby. They worked the horse, and he worked pretty good. Came up after his bath, walked in lame, and
right front.
Dead lame, right front, right. So they called me up, and of course I never heard about it. So I got a call that afternoon, that evening,
Better get back here.
And they said, no. He said, listen, I didn't want you to hear this from somebody else, but this horse is, the horse, he cracked his right front cannon. He's got a screw. You're going to have to have a screw put in it. Right? Well, I said, yeah, sorry to hear that. I really am. For the horse.
Yeah.
Because the horse didn't say no.
No, he tried.
Right?
Right.
Well, they called.
So he was loading.
Yeah.
He's loading.
He was from one corner to the other.
From one corner to the other, getting off of that glute.
Yeah.
That was bothering him, and loaded on the other end. So
what they did was they called me up when they put him back in training, and with the outfit they sent him to start him back. And they said, well, listen, could you come do this horse's glute? And I said, and I'm looking over at the person that says this. I learned it from her. But I said, listen, I said, I got a really simple saying, and it works pretty good for me. I said, but if you don't invite me to the wedding, don't expect me to show up for the funeral. Okay? I said, so you need to get somebody else.
Like that.
You got to get somebody else to fix that horse now. I said, because you had your chance back when it meant something.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I said, and you were injured. You did damage to the horse, and that horse didn't say no. I said, so don't expect me to come clean up your mess after you messed him up.
Right.
Yeah.
And it hurt because I was truly.
Yeah, you
I wanted
to do the right thing.
Yeah, but they didn't want to do the right thing, and they did the wrong thing by the horse, and they paid the price. They didn't make it to the Derby. Nice horse, really nice horse, and the owner and I didn't really fall out over it, but me and the trainer did, and all that, and we moved our paths. Listen,
Yeah,
this
there's all kinds,
these things
of
happen.
stories like that, and patience is a virtue.
Can be,
they say.
Yep.
Can be,
and so
And I know you spend a lot of time in Ocala.
Oh yeah,
I know
when
you
I
go
need
down
to.
and look at like a lot of Todd's babies before
Yeah.
they come up and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I know, he wants you to give him your notes on what you think or how these horses are progressing, or
He asked me to go through them
when
on
they
a
can
routine
come or
basis,
when
yeah.
they cannot. And
Well, I don't make those calls, but I mean, as a rule. But if he wants me, if he, when he's bought some horses at sales and says, hey, and he says it very casually, but he'll say, hey, you going through Ocala? Of course, I'm in South Florida, and I go, well, last time I checked, 75 goes through
Good, right
Ocala.
there.
So what I need to be asking here is, what you got in mind? He goes, well, we got one we need to get looked at their
Training center.
Training center.
Right.
And said they paid a lot of money for it. But and he says, I'm thinking maybe he's got a glute, so.
well, you got him thinking the right way.
Yeah, no, that's what he was thinking. So, but that's not what he had. So I came there and said, as soon as I said it to JJ, I just said, you better x-ray this one stifle. Maybe ultrasound, see what you got. And he went, they knew something was wrong.
Right.
No, I mean that's
why he sent you there.
Yeah.
And he believes in you, and he.
Yeah, and we diagnosed him, but unfortunately, he didn't make the horse. He won 2 races, 2 for 2, and done.
And that was it.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of these horses, we'll see horses here at the sale, these yearlings, and they'll have some developmental issues that, God gave them, or maybe nutrition, who knows,
Yep.
why these things come up. And lots of them, they seem to live with.
They do. You're right. That's exactly right. But you got to know what they
can live with and what they can't live
The truth
with.
is, the difference is experience teaches you. Experience is such a good teacher.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this close to 40 years now.
Well, we're right behind you.
Yeah.
32 years for Randy and I. And, I don't know how when we're only 40 years old, but we wish, huh?
Well, unfortunately, I'm the senior member of this crew.
Not really.
Yeah, I'm 65.
Oh, you got me.
Yeah.
You got Social Security at least.
Dean's about to get it.
AARP, baby. But the truth is,
wisdom. We talk about wisdom.
You get knowledge and you experience it and you store it away and you learn. Like, I remember everybody used to make big calls like in upper joints, OCDs, things like this. And don't get me wrong, you can get some that will be devastating.
Right.
But there are, if you know and you've seen enough of them, you experience and you've seen before and after and you haven't dealt with it, that's a different story.
Right. Right.
So, and I mean, I remember passing horses. People said, "Hey, man, he's got an OCD and stuff." I said, "I saw it. I made a note of it, but that
it was good.
Yeah,
that was never going to buy another horse."
Right.
Something might bother it, but it won't be that.
I said, "Let me tell you, he may break down a lot of things. That is not going to be the cause of it. Trust me."
No, we've seen it time after time. Extra heat. We had
extra heat. She was crooked as hell.
Oh, and
I remember. I saw her.
And her X-rays were horrible.
Yeah,
3 of her 4 legs had.
Yeah.
When we bought her, the vet was like, "Sell her."
What, you win 25 out of 23 out of 25?
$3 million later.
Yeah, and champion.
champion.
Yeah.
And never really broke down. She just retired.
Yeah.
I know. I remember.
Yeah, she just retired.
The guy from Maryland, Toscano, had her, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Salzman.
No,
Salzman.
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 John
Yeah.
Salzman. That's what I said. Toscano. Yeah.
We get so many times like a vet will have a horse and it'll have an issue and he'll be, well, it would be fine for racing but not for pin hooking. And, sometimes that's confusing for us because they're going to the same place at the end of the day.
Yeah, end results the same.
End results the same.
Unfortunately, we, like I said, we're going to stay positive here,
Right.
But I think that there ends up being at the sales a lot of people that, don't. They
have the wisdom.
They just don't have the experience and the knowledge. And this is what I did every day, the 7 days a week for 25 straight years.
Yeah.
I mean, until my wife finally told me that, you got to
slow up a little.
You got to maybe not do this 7 days a week. Maybe we could do a few other things.
Yeah.
And then we broke our practice down and we did something different. I had 3 guys, myself and 2 associates. And then I just did work for the guys I wanted to.
Right.
And
that's a nice position.
And we had a business and, so that ended up taking more focus, but I got to work for who I wanted to, and that makes it better.
Well, that goes into, your care, your passion for the horses, and how you developed a product that is so good for a horse and dogs and people, really, at the end of the day. I mean, it's just good for all athletes or athletic people, too.
Yep.
And how'd you come up with that? Lubricant.
That's interesting.
It's lubricant.
Truth is, 2 people, I got to thinking about this. I told you, I was around Churchill. Churchill always told me that HA, he was the first guy to take purified HA and put it in joints. First guy to
it's amazing for the horses. Yeah. We all know that, right?
And he found that out, and I give him all the credit. But when I worked for Frank Stronach as his racing manager and veterinarian, he told me, he says, the accounts tell me we're spending so much money injecting the HA and giving them Legend IV and things like this. He goes, what you should do? You should figure out a way. You're a smart guy. You're a smart guy, Steve.
That's how he talked.
He says, you should figure out the way to get the HA win out to give him the shots. And so I said, I like that. That's interesting. And I worked with a medical technologist, and we played with it, and we got lucky. We figured out how to do it, and it worked out.
Yeah. And
what year was that you come up with lubricant? It's been a while now. It's been on the.
What's that now?
What year was that?
What year? Truthfully, it was 1998 when Frank told me that.
Really?
And I didn't sell the first commercial dose of it or container until 2004, 6 years.
So
researched it, did all sorts of studies. We did stuff at safety
almost 20
tests.
years.
Almost 20 years now.
Yeah, it's been
almost 20 years.
Yeah, it'll be 20 years next year. Yeah,
wow,
that's right.
Wow, that's. But all these small things that make these athletes reach their potential and stay for longevity. Yeah. That's what it's all about. Is in advance preventative.
I use a term. There's 2 terms. There's restorative medicine.
Yes.
Preventative medicine.
Mm-hmm. Preventative.
Restorative medicine is you get the horse to reach its potential. You reap a lot more benefits and rewards, and you get a whole lot more value out of the entire functional life of the horse as an athlete.
Right.
Preventative medicine, like removing fragments, cannon bone fractures that you put screws in, you name it. The problem is there's a certain amount of damage that gets done when that occurs. You don't ever get back.
Right.
And some of it can be, like as we've seen lately, you can have catastrophic breakdowns by not being preventative.
Right.
I always lean on preventative. That's my credo.
And just some little stuff that everybody would know about: arthritis.
Sure.
Absolutely. Starts to form, and now they can't perform, or any athlete can't perform.
It's degenerative joint disease. Arthritis is a symptom.
Right.
Degeneration of the cartilage, eventually it's non-functional. It doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. So I like that part of how, there's so many farms that do an unbelievable job on taking care of their horses and raising them with the right nutrition programs and the right team.
Yeah.
Which is the veterinarian and the handlers, the people that feed them, everything, the whole team together, and raise up these potential champions here. We're going to see a lot of them here in the next couple of days, aren't we?
That's right. Absolutely. I've already seen a few today I really like.
They're here. I don't think a lot of the public knows what goes into this. So this podcast I really was passionate about because I want to tell them, there's so much involved. There's always some negativity.
Sure.
In anything we do, whether it's NFL or NBA or
and NASCAR. It's
NASCAR or something like that.
There's a lot of background.
But we have enough educated humans to be able to talk and answer and make calls for the horses.
Yeah.
And we have to depend on them.
Yeah.
And we do. We all do.
Well, you have to. And then, I was fortunate enough. My first private job was working for Alan Paulson and Brookside.
Yeah, I remember that. Cigar.
That's one of many. And, we had some really nice horses. We won Breeders' Cups.
Boy.
During the period of time I was there, he was the leading breeder and owner of Champions, Eclipse Award winners, and Breeders' Cups, and the history of the game. And I think he still leads in both categories.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll get past. And then, he finally got prostate cancer, and they shut down the California outfit, which is where I was living. I was living in Southern California for him in northern San Diego County, where he had a farm. And he was right across the street from San Luis Rey Trading Center in Bonsall. And then I moved back to Kentucky, and of course then I ended up, that first year, I worked for a few people, 96, and I ended up working with a trainer who really did quite well. And then he ended up buying a 2-year-old that I vetted at the 2-year-old trans sales named Favorite Trick.
Yeah.
And then he was Horse of the Year the next year. And then I flew to Maryland and vetted a filly
and the only 2-year-old Horse of the Year.
No, Secretariat.
Secretariat
was
Horse of the Year?
Yeah, he was Secretariat. He was Horse of the Year too. Yeah, but he's the only one in the modern age. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that year I vetted the filly in Maryland called Countess Diana.
Right.
Yeah.
That a guy,
I remember her.
Yeah, and
she
ended up being champion,
too, right?
and she won the Breeders' Cup 8.5 lengths.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But just goes to show you. You get lucky.
Yeah.
You get lucky.
Well, I don't think it's luck.
No.
There's no such thing as that on there. Maybe you get lucky when you hit the lottery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But this is not luck
Well,
involved. This is expertise,
so.
and that's what it's all about is expertise. So now you walk through here, and you just said you looked at a lot of great horses here, or horses that you feel could be good potential champions on there. Tell me about what you go through. How do you go through the horse, and all about how you feel it? You look in its eye. And of course, you look at all their joints because you have machines that do that.
Yeah, exactly.
On that.
Well, I get hired basically to do a physical, and also reevaluate airways and radiographs.
Right.
But I'm also asked to evaluate, potential conformation defects, what I like, what I don't like, things like this. And bottom line is that I draw it from experience. I remember when I first saw Favorite Trick at the 2-year-old trans sale, Ricky LaPala had it.
Yep,
beautiful.
Sure did.
And he looked the part. He moved. I love the way the colt moved. But the thing I really liked about him, he put all that together. They did a cardio scan on him and all that when it was very, very in the fledgling stages. And he hit hit bullseye at the systems back then. But the thing that was amazing about that colt, he acted like a 4-year-old gelding.
Right.
To be around, he was so smart.
Focused.
He didn't do anything wrong. The most perfect colt you could ever imagine. Temperament-wise, I'm thinking like cardio, physical, moves like this, functions, the way he changed leads and stuff. And then you see him, how he acts. You knew he was smart. I was going to say, man, you got to buy this colt. You know what they paid for that colt?
I don't remember. 100?
100,000.
Yep, 100,000.
Undefeated horse of the year for 100,000.
Didn't have the most perfect X-rays.
No, he had a bunch of OCD stuff they took out.
Yeah.
But there was nothing for me.
Right.
Maybe it's not being smart. Maybe not being too smart. I passed him, and the funny part about all that was, took care of him this whole 2-year-old year, minimal amount of vet work, a little here, a little there. The next year I went to work for Stronach. Stronach hired me in the fall to work for him, and I'm down in Ocala at the old Lindrake place is where he had their training barn.
Yeah.
And so one day we're sitting there and it was raining. It is in the winter. It rains a lot. It's cold. And so guy's sitting outside where I pulled up to one of the barns. He's standing out in the rain with a raincoat on. Looks like a drowned rat. And they go, hey, this guy wants to talk to you. I said, well, who is it? They go, well, I didn't ask who he was, but he wants to talk to you. So he said, well, tell him to come in and get out of the rain, So he walks in, and we're sitting there, and I said, hey, and he pulls off his hood from his raincoat, and I look at him, he looks like he's wet. So I said, dude, man, you don't stand out in the ring. Come on inside, you know. So he says, you remember me? And I said, you look familiar, because he wore glasses. I said, he was soaking wet. And I said, yeah. I said, I remember you. I said, you're the consignor of Favorite Trick, the phone trick colt. He goes, yeah. He goes, I got something I want to show you. And I go, I'm going to get in trouble here now. Right? So I said, yeah. He goes, well, give me a minute. He walked out to his truck, got his sailboat.
And he had a raincoat on. That's scary.
Yeah. And he pulls open his book. He goes, I want you to know something. He goes, 8 vets vetted this colt, and you're the only one that passed it. I said, well, how do you know that?
Horse of the year,
champ. He goes, look, I don't know what happened, but a rumor got out that there was this wrong, that wrong. But the thing that seemed to kill him with a lot of people was the fact they said he had a bad airway.
Really?
Well, he'd gotten sick at the sale, at least after he worked. And he was displaced.
He's a baby.
Yeah, a baby, you know. Yeah. But when he put it where it belonged, big, long epicloths and stuff like this. So they asked me, what do you think? I said, listen, man. You know, and here's the deal. Fine. I was I was over at Gulfstream, and I went over. This is when they had to sell a Calder.
Yeah, yeah.
So I went over there late in the day, and you had to take your own X-rays. You know, they never
had around 1,000 plates.
Yeah, so I did. So me and another guy, the only thing he'd done is he'd kind of nicked himself, and he had a little swelling along a splint bone. I X-rayed the splint bone, and another guy was there, and he scanned it, and we traded. He looked at my X-rays, I looked at his scans. We worked on it together, and I had like half a dozen horses to do. So later that night, the guy calls me up, the trainer he was in New Orleans, running a horse in a stake race. He says, "What about the horses you vetted?" Yeah, this one, that one, other. I said, "What about that phone trick colt?" Because he didn't have a name.
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, he was fine." He goes, "You sure? What about his airway?" Well, he'd heard the rumor.
Right.
And he goes, "I heard this colt's airway won't
we've
pass."
We've been through that.
I said, "Well, dude, the only thing I can tell you is if this horse's airway don't pass," I said, there's something seriously wrong here, you know?
We've been through that a million times, and
look at the one that at Wesley bought, Judy the Beauty.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't have said that. Right?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, look what she did.
Anyway, she was a good horse, and I don't think her airway was a problem. So.
No. Yeah, I don't think so. After 2 Breeders' Cups. Yeah, I think grade 1 after grade 1.
There you go.
On that. Well, would you say that the airways would be your most important part of your veterinary exam?
Well, let me put it to you like this: first thing I do is put a scope in them.
Right.
Don't pass scope. I don't do the rest.
Right.
I don't waste somebody's time and money.
Right.
And the reason why is because, I have my criteria. I think I know it works. And, I got to tell this one. And the horse is not alive anymore. So I could probably, is it okay?
You can say whatever you want anyway.
All right.
Yeah, we're just having a conversation.
I had a trainer. He's sitting right down over there, and it's that guy in the blue shirt down there named Dale Romans. Okay, his initials are Dale Romans. Anyway, so Dale calls me up and says, he had horses. The babies were here at Keeneland with Jamie Sanders, and she broke his babies and stuff. So I go in and. Jamie's got a pretty good eye for a horse. She worked for Zito for a long time. She has, I don't know if she's a very good rider or not, but she'd give you good opinion.
Right.
So Jamie says, she brings out this colt by El Prado out of a Learfan mare. And she says, boy, this colt's all right. It's one of Ramsey's. I said, yeah. I said, so I put a scope in him, and he's been blowing, and he's got an airway just big. It's huge.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, I said this.
Like this?
Yeah. I said, anyway, I said, so she says
B on you.
They had him in a 2-year-old sale here at Keeneland, and they worked him on turf. Everybody flunked him because at rest he had an very asynchronous airway. I will say that much.
Right.
But when you close it off,
it opened
up wide and stayed
like this big.
Yeah.
Big function, the whole bit.
Yeah.
So I never worried about it. So he goes and wins and wins and wins and wins. And one day he was getting ready for the Virginia Derby. I was over here looking at babies, and Dale calls me and says, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "Oh God, this doesn't sound good."
Yeah.
I said, "I'm at Keeneland looking at your babies. Remember?" "Oh yeah. Get to Churchill now." Oh Jesus! So just drive. Okay. Hour and 15, 20 minutes later, I'm pulling into Churchill. He's still at the barn. It's probably 1 o'clock. So he says, "Get your scope." I go, "Oh." So he's got Kitten's Joy, Roses in May.
Right.
I'm like, oh shit. And that's where he goes right, and there's stalls right next to each other. I said, well, this is not good. If I'm getting a scope for either one of these, this can't be good. So I'm thinking it trapped up a glass. I know they're
Yeah,
functioning.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, and
But throats go any old crazy way, don't they?
Like Charlie Whittingham told me once upon a time, horses are like strawberries; they can spoil overnight.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that truer words were never spoken. So I was ready for the worst. So it's Kitten's Joy, and I'm thinking like, oh man, like maybe he's got like a chondritis.
Well, somebody you work with. You thinking?
I'm thinking like, I'm thinking the worst, but maybe the best. And I know he's it's a week out from the Virginia Derby, so I put the scope in him like this, and I hold him off, and it takes forever for him to, because he's so fit.
Yeah.
He's already won 4
Right. He can hold his breath for 10 minutes.
So like finally he does his thing. I mean, Dale, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I mean, looks like the same old horse I've been looking at. What are you getting at? He goes, I shouldn't tell his party, but he goes, well, another vet looked at him today and said that his airway he's paralyzed. And I go, dude, he ain't paralyzed. And then this is the kind of weird part about it. All the time since he had him in his care, I was the only one ever scoping.
So why would somebody else?
Because I was always there when he was.
You weren't there.
I did the scoping and stuff like that, And I mean, I did all Dale's work, but I did the good stuff. I worked on the good horse. That's what he wanted.
Yeah.
And that day I didn't, because I was over at Keeneland, and he just said, "That's it. Nobody ever scopes this horse again but you." And he won the Virginia Derby.
He won the Virginia
Derby. And he saw another one, and then
made a great stallion.
I'm bragging on you, Dale Romans. I'm bragging on you. And he was champion. He beat older horses in the Hirsch, and I think he got a bad rough call in the Breeders' Cup. I think he should have been put up on a DQ, but I wasn't a steward.
And a great sire.
And I was prejudiced.
Yeah, an awesome sire.
Yeah. It turned out to be a great sire.
Yeah, great sire. I mean,
there's a beautiful one.
So that's what you got to look for. You got to look for airways. Sometimes it may not follow the books, but they still function.
Well, we follow your same protocol.
Yeah.
I mean, we are strict on, we look at airways first. But going back to what you said before, is we look at mannerisms.
Yeah.
Mannerisms are very important to us.
Big time.
We're focused, they're smart.
Yeah.
We work with our partner, Rich Mendez, and I say to him every time about it, look how this horse focuses. Mm-hmm. Look how this horse, pays attention to his handler or her handler. And when they walk off, they have a purpose.
Yeah. Makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And
makes a huge difference.
The good ones show that.
Every great horse we've ever had.
I remember looking at APN as a yearling,
and
I got lucky enough to take care of him as a racehorse, his whole career. And Drysdale, I can't ever say thank you enough for trusting me, a young guy. I was 4 years out of vet school, 5 years out of vet school, and he's got the most expensive yearling purchased for a foreign entity, the Sir Maki. And, he trusted me. He believed in me.
Yeah.
And I'd worked on Prize before, and he won the Breeders' Cup with him.
Well, he's a smart guy.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. maybe I just got lucky.
Only the best.
To take care of him through his 2-year-old year, and then through his 3-year-old year in the Breeders' Cup, and be horse of the year. It's just, how lucky can you get?
Well,
maybe one of the, and I'm supposed to say
again, we say blessed.
Yeah, you're blessed. To be around those kind of horses.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, I know.
And he was extremely intelligent, tough as nails, but extremely intelligent.
I mean, and he had a feel.
Yeah.
For a horse. I mean, so much of it is that you may wake up one day, never saw a horse in your life, and have this passion for horses. You can become a horseman that way. If you have that passion, if you're born with that passion.
I think if you have the passion and you go out and you seek the experience and the knowledge, it's out there, and you get good guys like you guys will share it. What you know, me, I wouldn't wish me on my worst enemy. I am so hard to work for.
That's what Randy would say about me.
I'm such a prick. I hate to admit it.
Yeah.
I don't know how
days off.
I don't know how the vet assistants I had over the years. I don't know how.
How they stayed with
you. They stayed with me. Chad Brown worked for me for 3 years.
Really?
Yeah. And he turned out, but he did a great job. He was a great vet assistant.
These are all these things that sometimes you just can't teach.
True.
You're
right.
It has to be.
And he had passion.
Yeah.
He had tremendous
and look, he's a
passion.
great trainer, an amazing trainer.
Yeah.
And
he's won. I saw a stat the other day. He's won the most grade ones in the last 20 years.
I mean,
in the game.
That isn't.
And he's young.
That's a lot.
He's young.
Yeah.
It's not luck.
No.
So it's Those are the things we'd like to bring across, that this is the greatest industry in the world to us. I mean, Randy and I have made a living through this industry.
You guys have
great
bought
horses.
so many nice babies over the years.
Oh, we have. But a lot of them, they have to have that good mind. I'll give you a quick funny story. Is our first Derby winner. Randy and I are young. We're in business, 3 years? Maybe, when we had our first Derby winner. And we picked this horse. We picked 2 horses out of the same sale. Crazy thing, and both of them were champions.
Wow.
Both by Silverbuck.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, Stormy Blues.
Yep.
And
Silver Charm.
and Silver Charm.
Stormy Blues was New York bred, right?
No. She was
She's
Florida,
a Florida
bred.
bred.
Was she a Florida?
Clyde Rice bred her.
I'll be damned. I didn't know that. I'll be darned.
Yep, by Cure the Blues.
Yeah.
But anyway, when they started interviewing us about that, having this Derby horse, and we have found so many people that said they rode this horse. Could that be so? And we said, well, yeah. We laugh about it. You know why? Every time we'd get a new rider come in,
horse in the barn.
we'd say, put him on the gray
let's see how
horse
he
because he's quiet.
Yeah.
And they all got to gallop Silvertron because he was gentle, quiet, smart, go out there and just do his job, right?
You're right about that. He was extremely smart, because I had the privilege of being around him with Bob.
Oh, yeah.
And
I think Bob actually rode him.
he might have.
Yeah.
That wouldn't probably be the least, but Rudy was his groom. And he was his top groom then, and he got that horse. And I'm tell you what, I mean, that horse is smart, man.
Yeah.
So same thing like you saw in Favorite Trick. We had the same.
Favorite Trick wasn't Silver Charm. He won. He was champ 3-year-old, won the Dubai race.
yeah.
And,
He won $9 million.
Yeah. And you know what the funny thing is, his pedigree said he shouldn't be that. But the genes came together just right for that horse.
Yeah.
He was out of a polka mare.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Out
I think
of a
she was
polka mare.
20.
Yeah. Yeah. Bonnie's
And she
Polka.
was Bonnie's Polka.
Yeah, I remember.
We the owners named him Silver Charm.
Yeah.
But we had a good name for him if we could have named him. We want to name it Polka for a Buck.
Well,
Just like Lonesome Dove,
You could have gone all day long without that one. Poker for a buck. Okay, but anyway, moving on.
But that was great, and actually, I thank you again, because bringing this to this audience enlightens a lot of people on.
That's just a bunch of stories, man.
But they're real.
Truthfully,
they're real.
I'm a moron, and I got lucky.
Yeah, really. Yeah, you can tell that to somebody else.
I can show you lots of vets out here to tell you that.
Jealous.
Yeah.
Jealousy.
All that.
You can tell that to the tree, but we know different.
Yeah.
On that, so that's for sure. And I want to thank
you.
You
guys have been
for,
a good friend to me. I appreciate it.
We've been friends a long time.
Yeah.
And I respect you tremendously. Well, love you as a friend and respect you as a veterinarian and horseman.
But he hates me as a roper because I made more money at the
beat his
World
ass.
Series.
Right.
than
You
he
beat
did.
his
That's right, because you beat my ass. Yeah. On that. But I loved your horse.
He's a good
when
horse.
you let me ride him.
He's a good horse.
On that.
He's a good horse.
Big gray boy.
Yep.
RJ.
Yep.
RJ's his name.
He's retired now.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. We
Yeah.
may have to take him out of retirement for a little bit.
No. He's done. He's
Put a
done
little
his thing.
8-year-old on him.
Yeah. Well, now he might do that.
Yeah. On that, and have a little bit of fun. But anyway, if you like what you hear, you come visit us on Leading the Way podcast. Hartley DeRenzo, Dr. Steve Allday. Great information. And again, I want to thank you.
Thanks, Randy.
Thank you,
for
man.
that.